so if you're looking to buy some NFTs, here are a couple high potential projects that I'm personally looking at right now. I'm gonna show you why I think they're so valuable and why I feel like they have that really like high potential to grow with more minimal downside. The first project I'm going to be looking at is Neo Tokyo Identities by Alex Becker and Elio Trades. So let me go ahead and explain to you why I think this project is going to be so sick. So Neo Tokyo is basically two of the biggest influencers in the NFT space. Elio Trades and Alex Becker came together to do this NFT project. And so what they did that was really interesting was they kind of took the approach of like a Willy Wonka style, Ready Player One in the Oasis, where you have to like play all these games and solve all these riddles in order to get the prize. And so their prize was NFT, right? So most teams, what they're going to do is they're going to create a project and they're going to sell it for like 0.06 ETH, and they're going to be like, all right, I'm going to sell 5,000 of these, cash out like 1 to 3 million and disappear. What they're doing, what they did actually, they already did this, is that they said the mint is going to be free. It's free, right? We don't make any money on it. We're only going to keep one for ourselves. So that's 2, right? For each founder. And then the rest is going to go to the community. So they really just gave to the community, and they're not asking for any money up front. They only make money if the project is successful. And so you had to get the first thing. You saw this ridiculous riddle, which is like nearly impossible. I was in the Cyberkongs group, and I'm sure there's many different communities that formed where they just like, I'm talking like these organized groups of grown ass men come together to solve these riddles to get this NFT. It's quite ridiculous, right? And so it's genius in that the harder somebody works for an NFT or for any prize, the more perceived value that thing is. For me, I didn't want to spend the time to do all these riddles. It wasn't that fun to me, but these guys are spending like hours every day, like figuring out these riddles and trying to figure out. And I'm looking in the groups and being like, damn, dude, these guys are really dedicated. So when they get this NFT, whatever this special thing is, they don't want to let go because they work so hard for it. And the only way they're going to let go is if they sell it for a high price, right? This specific project, what they did was like, they kept creating new NFTs. So you have to keep solving new riddles. And then you have to collect like 4 of them, I believe. These land vaults, these identities, and like, you know, it's very complicated, but like, just think of it like 4 different NFTs, put it together, and then you get the main one, which is the citizenship. And then that's like your ticket into the society. If we are looking at the Neo Tokyo Citizens, this is like after you get all the different NFTs and you put it together, it's going to be 43 ETH to buy one of these, which is $173,000 for one of these guys, which is ridiculously expensive. Why is this project so valuable? And so what they're doing with Neo Tokyo Citizens, or Neo Tokyo, the project as a whole, they're creating a community where some of the brightest minds in NFT and crypto and gaming can come together and collaborate, right? So if you have all the founders of all the top like crypto games coming together and helping each other out, that's valuable, because in this space, information and community is everything, and they're creating that community and they're creating their value for their users. And so if you want to be part of this club and hang out with a bunch of rich people who are running some of the most successful projects in the NFT space right now, well, it's going to cost you like $200K to be a part of this club. If you're already rich and you already have a crypto project, well, this is a no-brainer because it's a small price to pay to be connected to the right person. Obviously, not many people have that much money or Ethereum to buy into this project, and personally for myself, I don't either. Another thing you can look at is Neo Tokyo Outer Identities. Essentially what they did was they had the main thing, it's super expensive, but a lot of people can't get in, right? Because there's only, 1.9K of these available. So now there's these outer identities, so there's 4.5K available, and it's more like the second tier. There's less benefits you get compared to the first, but at least you get into the community. And so right now it's going to cost 5.799 ETH for the floor of one of these like codes. You're not getting the citizenship or the outer citizenship just from buying this. It's basically your ticket to play the games. It's speculation, right? But you have to probably collect a bunch of other stuff, do all these different riddles until you collect like all 4 or whatever, and then you get like a citizenship similar to this. So if you're interested in those kind of games and you want to be part of these kind of communities, then it definitely is a good buy. Right now, 5.8 ETH is a little high for this price in my opinion. It could go up, it could go down. Like nobody really knows. It's a coin flip. But if it ever got to like, let's say like a 3 Ethereum, like for sure I'm buying some. And you could also speculate as well, right? You can buy this at 4 or 3, and then in the future that people will want to buy this because they want to play the game. Maybe you can actually flip it and not even play the game and not care about the citizenship if that's what you want to do. But personally for me, because Elio Trades and Alex Becker have been pretty consistent in the crypto space, very successful track record from trading and also building a community, but it's definitely a project that I would personally be looking to hold in the long term. So the next project we're going to be talking about is going to be the Clone X Takashi Murakami collaboration by Artifact Studios, which was just acquired by Nike for probably, hundreds of millions and, if not $1 billion. Why am I looking at this project and why am I showing you this project? Well, right now the floor price is going to be 4.65 ETH, and that is definitely not cheap. What we want to do first is you want to look at the fundamentals of a project long term, regardless, like not looking at price, a current price, looking at where the project can go in the future. If Nike owns this company has done over 100 million in revenue from selling NFTs, and they have some of the best art. They're creating basically a metaverse fashion brand in the modern day for 2021, 2021, 2022. But long term is looking pretty bright. You know, I can see them doing a lot of collaborations with top tier artists in the future. I can see them launching new NFTs, NFT sneakers, NFT clothes that will drop and you can wear in the metaverse. Think about like Supreme, for example, right? Like every week, if you're familiar with Supreme, their motto is like sell things in limited quantity. Every Thursday, there's going to be a drop, sells out like pretty much every single time. I can see them kind of mimicking that, but for, you know, the modern day like metaverse brand, and sell digital assets instead of physical ones. When I'm looking at this project and I'm looking into buying it or not, first I'm looking at price. Okay, so right now the price is 4.65. It's pretty high. It's pretty hot too. Personally, for me, it could go up, but I wouldn't want to buy it at this price. If it ever got to like 2 ETH, I think that's a good deal. If it got to 3 ETH, that's also a good deal. Personally, for me, I want to buy it at 4.65. That's just me, but other people can have different opinions, right? Because you always want to look at risk and reward ratio. If you buy it at, let's say, like 4.65 ETH, what's the chance it's going to double? Like the market cap is already so huge, so much money has already been pumped into it. So you would need like double the amount of money to be pumped into this. And that is not very easy to do. And so that's why you want the price to go down lower, buy it when nobody cares about it because you believe in the long-term fundamentals, right? That's always the key. Don't buy things because they're hot and they just came out. Look for long-term fundamentals of why you think something would be successful and wait for that price to drop down to a point where it's like low. People are like, oh, this project's dead and stuff like that, because when people write the project off, they're going to sell it at low prices and that's the perfect time to buy. And so personally for me, like if I were to buy this project, either I would buy a floor price, so meaning the cheapest one. Like I don't really care like which design I get because you're going to pay too much of a premium for that unless you're going to pay like the top tier ones. But I would actually scroll down, go to type, and then I would get the Murakami drip. Murakami is one of the top fine artists right now, right? And so this is his first venture into NFT space. That's why you see like these ones with like colorful eyes and like things like that. Personally for me, if the Murakami NFTs with Artifact ever went to a low price, where right now it's like 8 Ethereum, which is like way out of the price range of most people watching this. But if this ever like dropped down to something like really low, then I personally would want to buy it, because it's like you're buying basically a fine art piece, right? So it goes beyond just buying a regular picture profile. It's like this is an established artist who's been creating fine art and has worked with Louis Vuitton, Kanye West, and all these other crazy brands for decades, and you get to buy one of his pieces for just like whatever ETH, right? So owning like a Murakami at like, let's say a $10,000 price range is actually, for me, would be a reasonable thing, but depends on like how much money you have to invest in these type of projects. A lot of you guys are looking at Artifact, Neo Tokyo, and you're like, that's way out of my price range. And so this is something that's cheaper. Okay, so the final project that we're gonna look for this video is gonna be NanoPass. It's a project that just came out. Personally, for me, the art is actually pretty like unique, and like I can look at it and be like, okay, there's nothing else like it on the market at the moment. And essentially what they're doing is first they're selling you like this land. You know, in a way it's like it is an NFT, but it's a way for them to fundraise as a team to continue to keep building. And what makes this so special is that the utility for this is they're going to be giving you these weekly black boxes. By owning this NFT, every week they're going to give you a black box that's going to have something inside, right? Whether it's going to be physical merchandise, other NFTs, maybe they're going to collaborate with another NFT project and give you an exclusive. Maybe it's going to be a donation to a charity or something. So every week there's always going to be something new, something fresh, something different. Just being a part of that community and seeing like what you can potentially get. For a lot of people, that's going to be valuable in itself. But also, you know, they're going to have phase 2 of this project, and I believe they're going to come out with their own picture profile project or something. They're teasing it here. They're going to say like, you're going to get whitelisted for something much bigger. You know, I don't know what that thing is, but if it's going to be better than this, then that's, you know, good, because I always look for NFTs where you buy something and they can kind of pay you forever, whether it's a form of like tokens or free NFTs or exclusive access to mint certain NFTs that will potentially increase in value. And so it's not like you're just buying art, you're also buying opportunity for investment as well. And so they're trying to really push that. Could the things that they put out in the future go to zero and the whole thing's worthless? Absolutely. But just based on execution, based on art, it's looking pretty solid, especially if you're into the aesthetic of like, you know, Japanese, like anime, like culture kind of stuff. Personally, I think it's pretty cool. And one of the more nuanced but interesting things about this project is when they put out their project, it sold out. They did, you know, tons of volume, and which is great for them. But how they did it caught my attention, because from what they're saying, and I kind of do believe it, they had a $0 marketing budget, meaning they're not going out and paying influencers to be like, hey, can you know, talk about my project and I'll pay you like 1 ETH. They just like hardcore organically, you know, developed a community, whether it's like, I see some of them talking in the Kaiju Kings community, and I have a Kaiju King myself, and they're just like kind of sharing what they're doing, being part of the community, and I actually respect that. When the time came for them to like release their project, because they put so much effort in making the initial thing look good, doing the 3D modeling and all that, and collaborating with the right people, and not having to pay these people, but like really like a true collaboration, they were able to organically gain that following. And I can see from the founder, which is Agent Ray over here, I read some of his Twitter posts, and like he has a lot of thoughtful perspectives on the NFT space, where it's not just like like, oh, we're gonna be here for a long time, trust us, we won't rug pull. It's like he actually has an opinion on the NFT space, how to build utility, how to do something different. And I really do respect that out of a founder. Now, it doesn't mean they're 100% going to be successful and going to make it for like 10 years from now, but I can see from a team perspective and leadership perspective and like how they do their marketing, they grow very organically, they produce good quality stuff, and they really try to be different. And those are, you know, all green flags in my book. So if you are looking to actually buy NanoPass, it's going to be 0.3 ETH at the moment. So it's not cheap, but it's definitely not like a 5 ETH kind of deal. You know, there's all these different models and you look for rarity and things like that. But if I were you and I were looking to buy this project, I personally think the price is a little high right now. So it's 0.373. And, you know, if you're a NanoPass holder and you hate the fact that I said that, so be it. You know, it's just an opinion. But because it came out and it's so hot at the moment, the price has been decreasing. I think it was like 2 ETH before, then it was like 1 ETH, and now it's like 0.7. It can still keep going down, especially because at the moment we're kind of in a bearish period. If it got down to like 0.3 or 0.2, that would be a more reasonable buy, right? Because you could potentially like, you know, double or triple your money from there if the project is successful. But for a project to be 0.7, and then if you want that to triple, it would have to be like 2 ETH. To get a project, like one NFT to get to like 2 ETH, it's not that very easy. And you would have to be like in the top 1% to do that at this quantity level. So you always want to keep that in mind. For me, my personal strategy is just have the good projects in mind that you want to buy, wait for the price to go low, and wait for people to say bad things about that project, like, oh, it's dead, they're not doing anything. But look fundamentally, like, is this project actually building for the long term? And if the price is low and they're building for the long term and you believe that it can actually go somewhere, then, you know, your risk reward ratio is a lot better, right? Because it already went down, now it's like trading sideways and flat, but it could potentially go up depending on the narrative and the new things that they announce in the future. But if you buy when it's hot, well, the only way it's going to go up is if the project becomes extremely, extremely hot, and that's less likely than more likely, right? Those are going to be some 3 projects that I'm personally looking at. Check it out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.